This is the 17th video in a series that is designed to help you give useful information to the Jehovah's Witnesses so they can make informed decisions about their religious beliefs. In each video I give you background information and then suggest what you can say and what questions to ask. You are not going to be teaching the Jehovah's Witnesses. You should have the attitude of a newspaper interviewer who does not teach and explain things but listens and asks questions. In fact, the only time you'll be explaining anything is when they invite you to give an explanation about something, because you've made them maybe curious about something that you believe, and then you give an answer, but keep it brief, as I suggest in these videos. But then you're going to ask questions that I recommend on certain issues that will draw them out and make them think and pursue possibly other issues and issues that concern them about their belief system, as is taught in this book. So you're going to be studying with them in this book. This is their favorite book, their favorite publication. What does the Bible really teach? You're going to be reading the entire book, each paragraph, and then answering the questions that are at the bottom of the page. And if you don't agree, that's fine. You don't have to say you don't agree. Don't argue with them. Just say, I'll think about that, but then give the answer from the paragraph without debating or arguing. You're not going to use any sarcasm or ridicule or put them on the spot. Please keep in mind the principles from Colossians chapter 4, verses 5 and 6, and 1 Peter 3:15, that you're going to be gracious and respectful of the Jehovah's Witnesses. You're going to passively listen, answer the questions in the paragraph. If they invite you, you can say more, keep it brief, and ask the questions that I suggest in these videos. At times you can remind them that in their first chapter in their book, paragraphs 4:23, it recommends that you ask questions and pursue them until you get satisfying answers, because you want the truth from the Bible. This video is on the issue of page 145, paragraph 5. It's in the chapter 15, Worship That God Approves, and on the subheading, How to Identify the True Religion. This is where they take you from looking at biblical points up and through chapter 14, and now they want you to decide where is the true religion. This paragraph that we're going to discuss today is probably the most significant paragraph in the entire book, because normally Jehovah's Witnesses do not want you to investigate and examine their history or their teachings or their fruitage of their belief system, because you can examine things, find things that are negative, and if you were to present them, they'd say, oh, well, we're not obviously going to convince you of anything, you're not going to convince us of anything, so we see that you have your beliefs, well, you keep your beliefs, and we'll have a nice day, and you just believe what you want to believe. And then they get up and walk out. Then they go back to their congregation, they make a note of what kind of a person you are, and it's associated with your address, and it's possible you may never get a Jehovah's Witness to come back to your door. So if you just simply come out and challenge them or show them issues that you find disturbing, they will cut off and terminate the whole study, never come back, and it may be that no Jehovah's Witness will ever come back to your home. So this paragraph will enable you to bring up these difficult issues for them. And it's because of this paragraph that you'll be able to do that. So that's why I say this paragraph is very significant, maybe the most significant paragraph in the entire book. The Jehovah's Witnesses believe that their organization is the only true organization, true religion that God recognizes, that God uses today to communicate to the planet Earth what is true and acceptable worship. And this group is Jehovah's Witnesses. They do not believe that there are other true Christian religions, or that there are other true believers in other true religions. They believe all these other groups are false systems. And that if you want to be a true believer, you've got to be a member of Jehovah's Witnesses and be approved by their religious organization, their leaders. If you're not approved, then you can't be a member, you won't be invited to join, or you could be kicked out. and you're not a true believer unless you have that relationship with their and only their organization. Well, this paragraph, paragraph 5, invites you to examine their beliefs. And they ask the question in paragraph 5, how can we recognize those who practice the true religion? Well, they're not asking, can you recognize individuals in other religions that are practicing true religion? They're asking whether you can identify the one true religious organization. Because they don't believe that there are, as I said, other individuals or other religious groups that are considered true. They're all considered false. So they're asking you about the true religion, not a true religion or an acceptable religion. It's the true religion. Thus, they believe that their religious organization is the membership registrar for God, that they have to acknowledge and accept and recognize who is and who is not a true believer. Well, this, as I said, this paragraph is going to permit you to examine them and thus help the Jehovah's Witness examine their beliefs as well. Normally they wouldn't allow you to do that. So what you're going to do is, as you read paragraph 5, and you'll see they invite you to read Matthew chapter 7, verses 16 and 17. So you should do that first. It's right here in the paragraph, so read it. And in that paragraph, or in that verse, it says, by their fruits you will recognize them. Every good tree produces fine fruit. Of course, a bad tree will produce bad fruit. Now, they're not highlighting that here, but it's there in that passage. So here's what the paragraph says. How can the road to life be found? Jesus said that the true religion would be evident in the lives of the people who practice it. You'll notice it said, the true religion. By their fruits you will recognize them. In other words, those who practice the true religion would be recognized by their beliefs and their conduct. Okay, two things. By their beliefs, their conduct. Although they are not perfect and they make mistakes, true worshipers as a group seek to do God's will. Let us consider 6 features that identify those who practice true religion. And the point of what follows is that you, hopefully, will conclude that there's only one true religious organization on planet Earth, and that's their organization, which was founded in the early 20th century, or the end of, actually, the 19th century. Well, as you read this Bible verse in Matthew 7, 16 and 17, it invites you to look at the fruits of this religion or any religion. So this opens the door where they are inviting you to do this investigation. So having that in mind, this is what you might say when they come to your home. After they read the question, which is, how can we recognize those who practice the true religion? Say you read this paragraph and you're not sure exactly what it's saying, because there are many different religious groups and they all have a mix of different religious beliefs, and they have a different mix of good fruit and bad fruit. And the Bible is a big book. I don't think I don't think any church is inspired and understands everything that's in the Bible. And I would imagine that all religions have some bad fruit in it too. Some may be worse or better than others. I see in the paragraph it mentions they make mistakes. So, of course, no one's perfect. I guess it would matter whether those mistakes are major mistakes or minor mistakes. What is this paragraph saying? And so you ask the witness to explore this. And then you say, well, as I read Matthew 7, 16 and 17, is Jesus inviting me to investigate the fruits of any religion that I'm looking into, any particular religion? Because I'm curious about a variety of different groups and religious systems. Is Jesus inviting me to look at the good fruit as well as looking at the bad fruit? Or should I just be looking at the good fruit of each religion and ignore the bad fruit that I might see in a particular religion? What is Jesus inviting me to do? And let the witness comment on that. Then the next question is to ask the witness, well, are you comfortable with me examining your religious organization? Do you want me to just look at the good fruit, or should I be looking at the negative fruit as well? And make a decision. As you said, you've made mistakes. Am I allowed to look at those mistakes, or is that something you'd rather I not look at? And then let the witness answer that question. Then you say, well, suppose I do learn of some things. If I hear some good fruit, certainly I can share that. But, you know, I don't want to make you upset. And I know that you've heard the saying that people shouldn't talk about religion because people have strong feelings about such things. What if I come across some negative fruit that's those mistakes that this paragraph mentions? Should I mention them to you, or say I don't want to upset anybody? That's not what I'm wanting to do as I do this research. Should I just keep those things to myself? Maybe that's what I should do. So what do you think? Or if I come across some negative fruit, should I mention them? Because I'm not trying to upset anybody. So what should I do? Let them answer that and say, okay, you know, these mistakes that are mentioned here on page 146, are those minor mistakes, or are there major mistakes too that, you know, maybe I should know about, that I should, you know, I'm sure there's a good explanation for them, but, you know, should I know about those things, or should I, if I see any, if in my research I come across something, should I not look at it? What is Jesus inviting us to do here in Matthew? Well, what should we be doing here? And let the witness comment on that to see, you know, do they say, well, you know, we don't have any major mistakes, or it's okay, or we'll talk about it, whatever they do, whatever the witness says, and then process it. But hopefully they'll invite you to do what Jesus says here at Matthew 7, to look at their fruits and to investigate it. And then after they give you permission, then you do have permission to do this investigation. It's best to wait until after you've read this paragraph, read Matthew 7, 16 and 17, and see what Jesus invites you to do. Then you have been given permission by Jesus to do this investigation. Don't do it right there while the witness is sitting with you. But after the witness goes, then you should take that opportunity.